Hi, Addie. My name is Rachel. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for coming to see me. What brings you in today?
So I got referred to you by a diabetes specialist because they told me that I'm not managing my carbohydrates and stuff very well.
Yeah, it's tough to kind of figure out that stuff and navigate that. Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, and then we'll kind of start getting down to the specifics.
Yeah. Well, I just moved to Spokane, and me and my husband are kind of just trying to settle in. He's trying to find a job. I have 4 kids. 2 of them are in school right now, and then the other 2 stay at home with me, so that keeps me pretty busy.
Yeah, 4 kids, that's a lot to handle, especially when you've just moved to the area. Um, there are a lot of really good resources out there that we can talk about later on if you'd like to, for helping people find jobs and all sorts of stuff with like kids and families, for sure.
Yeah, I'd be very interested in that.
Definitely. So I kind of reviewed your file from what the diabetes specialist sent over, and I just had a couple clarifying questions. Where I see that you have a family history of cancer. Would you mind telling me what side and what kind of cancer that was?
It was my mom's side, and she had breast cancer.
Okay. I'm sorry to hear that. Is she doing okay?
Yeah, she made a full recovery.
That's awesome. And why don't you tell me a little bit about your living situation? Have you found a place yet?
Yeah, we live in an apartment over in Airway Heights. Um, just kind of getting used to the area. We live right next to the Walmart, so that's convenient.
Yeah, that makes things really convenient for sure. It always sucks when you live really far away from like anything to get like
Yeah,
groceries or anything like that.
my husband's taking the car right now too to go find work, so I usually do a little walk to the Walmart to grab groceries and stuff.
Okay, that's awesome. It's good that you're staying active for sure.
Yeah, I try. I have my feet and my ankles hurt really bad right now, so I can't walk too long or too far, but I try and get in what I can.
For sure. Do you do any other like physical activity, or is that as much as you feel comfortable with?
I clean the house and stuff. We don't have any stairs or anything in the apartment, but I uh like I'll get up and like stand up and do the dishes, or I'll vacuum the carpet. I don't do any like formal exercise right now, but just kind of walking around and holding the kids and stuff is as much as I can really do right now.
For sure. Yeah, it's definitely a good thing to keep moving. You don't necessarily need formal exercise to get that physical activity in, for sure. I also saw in your file that you said that you feel like you've been gaining weight over the last couple of months. Do you have a weight that you normally like to sit around?
Um, my weight's just kind of steadily been inclining, especially just with the kids and stuff. Once I started having kids, it kind of just started, I started gaining weight from there. But before my kids, I usually sat around like 140.
Okay. How do you feel about where your weight is right now? Do you feel comfortable?
I think that I could stand to lose a couple of pounds, especially because my doctor that referred me told me that that can help manage my diabetes.
Yeah, weight loss is definitely one of those things that can help with managing diabetes, but there are other things too. So if you feel comfortable where you're at, then we can focus on those other avenues and things to help with that. So it's all up to you. This is a individualized plan. So we can talk a little bit more about that later. Why don't you tell me what you ate yesterday, starting from when time you woke up to kind of right before you went to bed, if you had anything to drink throughout the day, and kind of just what that normal day looks for you.
Yeah. I've kind of just been eating what the kids eat lately. I had a cup of coffee in the morning with some like coffee creamer, the vanilla stuff. I just throw like a splash in there. And then I had a cup of Lucky Charms or so because the kids love Lucky Charms. So I kind of just snack on that. And then for lunch, we I think we had like a turkey sandwich with white bread. I threw like some mayo and like iceberg lettuce on there. And then we get those like mini bags of chips in like bulk because I can put them in school lunches and stuff. So I had a bag of chips in that sandwich. And then for a snack before dinner, I had another cup of cereal. And then for dinner, we did like taco night, where we just got like some stuff from Walmart, like beans, rice, cheese, ground beef. And I had probably like 4 or 5 tacos, and I had a glass of water with dinner. I'm not too great about my water intake. And then I had some more chips right before bed and a glass of juice.
All right, thanks for sharing that with me. I have a couple questions about some specifics. I noticed that you are lactose intolerant. Are you using a dairy creamer or what kind?
The one I currently have, there isn't any dairy in it. I think it's dairy free. I do like have like some cheese and stuff like at lunch and dinner. But my stomach's kind of just upset all the time right now, so I don't really notice a huge difference if I eat it or not, just because it's always kind of upset.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So then for your cups of cereal, what kind of milk are you using for those?
We just use 2% because my kids like it better and my husband likes it better.
Okay. And then lastly, what kind of fruit juice were you having at night?
It was apple juice. The kids love apple.
For sure. It's my favorite as well. Alrighty. And then have you ever tried any diets in the past, or are you on a current diet?
I haven't tried too much just because after the kids, it was kind of hard to focus on myself really. But I did try to do like dairy-free milk at one point, and I didn't really, it was like almond milk or something, and I thought it tasted funny.
Okay, yeah, sometimes it's hard to find a good dairy alternative for milk, and we can kind of talk about that later for sure. Sorry, I'm just reviewing a couple notes real quick. Alrighty, so I really appreciate you telling me all of that information. I just wanted to kind of reflect back on what I heard from you today. It sounds like we need to talk a little bit about carbohydrates and how to kind of monitor those. Maybe find some dairy alternatives that both you and your family would like. And then maybe kind of touch base a little bit on physical activity,
Yeah.
since weight loss seems to be something that you'd like to try, but it's not necessarily a high priority for you right now, given all of the things that you've got going on. Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna just give you a bunch of information at once. So if there are any questions at any point, don't hesitate to stop me and ask. I know it can be a little overwhelming, but this will be one of many sessions. So if you have any questions later down the line, totally feel free to like touch base with me. I will also give you my phone number and send you home with some pamphlets. So if you have any questions during the times of our meetings, you can totally reach out. So I'm going to start out with what seems like the main reason that you're here, which is to kind of manage that diabetes. You noted some foot pain, ankle pain, and that can definitely be related to unmanaged diabetes. Generally, the longer you go with unmanaged symptoms, they progress to other parts of your body. So those glucose molecules are floating throughout your bloodstream and damaging your nerves, which is what's causing that foot pain, along with other symptoms I'm sure that you're feeling right now, just like that general overall unwellness feeling. A really great tool to use in addition to the insulin, which are you taking that regularly, or what form of insulin are you using?
I'm on metformin right now. I do my best I can. I sometimes forget to take it, but I do try and take it regularly. I think especially now that I've seen my doctor and you, I'm definitely going to try and remember to take it more.
Okay, yeah. There's scheduled times to take that. Usually you're trying to time that before you ingest any carbohydrates. Another thing that you might be able to touch base with your primary care provider would be getting an insulin pump. So it makes it a lot easier for yourself, especially like with the lifestyle of having those 4 kids. I'm sure, again, super overwhelming. But the main thing is to just kind of like keep track of the carbohydrates that you have. So there's something called carb counting, and it's a little bit different than like the carb counting that you hear in like fad diets. It's more specific to like diabetes. So the idea is that one carb choice is 15 grams of carbohydrates. And for diabetics, you want to do about 50% of your total calorie intake as carbohydrates. So I went ahead and based off the information that I got from your diabetes specialist, I went ahead and I calculated out your carb choices. So every day you have about 12 to 15 carb choices per day. And carb choices, somebody would think like serving as like a baked potato would be one carb choice, but in reality, there's 13 grams of carbs in there. So that would be 2 carbohydrate choices. Does that make sense? So I'm definitely going to send you home with a pamphlet because I know this is a little bit confusing at first, but in terms of like ideas of what a carb choice would be, that could be something like a bagel, or would be like one carb choice, or a cup of rice would be like another carb choice. So like those tacos that you had, like just limiting yourself to like 1 cup of rice, and then that would count for that carb choice. It's also really important to make sure that you are not front loading or back loading your carb choices, which is like so like you're putting too many carbs at the beginning or too many carbs like at the end of the day. You want to make sure that they're evenly spread throughout your day so that you're not overwhelming your body with a spike of glucose, because that's going to give you some of those negative symptoms. Does that all make sense so far?
Yeah.
Okay. So to touch on that lactose or the lactose intolerance piece, there are more options than just having like almond milk or soy milk now that we've progressed through technology and time. There is a lactose-free milk out there, and they do have it as whole milk and 2%. So that might be something that you could look for in the grocery store. It will say like lactose-free on there, and I can't remember exactly what the bottle looks like right now, but I want to say it's blue. But keep an eye out for that when you go to Walmart next time. Definitely worth checking it out. In terms of like cheese, you could try goat-based cheeses. Sometimes people do better with those. And I want to say cojita cheese is made from goat milk. So that might be something to check out. And it still kind of gives you that Latina Hispanic flair in your food. All good things to kind of just keep an eye out for and check on. And then to kind of touch on that last piece, it's really great that you are able to get up and walk to Walmart and go and do all these different chores around the house. But maybe we could try some, not necessarily like full-fledged exercise, but something that's a little bit more like able to scale. Like I can see that I started here this when we first met, and now I can do X amount of things as we like progress through our sessions, so that you can see that you're improving. And you know, I don't know about you, but I like to know that I've done better, or I've come from started one place and now we're here, you know, kind of thing. Of all of that information that I just gave you, do you have any questions?
I don't think I do. I think you did a pretty good job explaining everything.
Okay. Is there anything that you can think of in terms of like the carbohydrate counting that you'd like to try? I think that there are a couple meal options that you listed that we can maybe like switch out for something else.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely start to like trying to do that, like 12 to 15 carb choices and trying to count those. Do you have any like suggestions of things I could swap out that might be like less carbohydrate-y?
Yeah, so fruits and vegetables are a good way to kind of focus on swapping out something that's going to be a little bit higher in those carbohydrates, like the Lucky Charms or the white bread, or even like our loved glass of apple juice, you know, so, or like thinking about maybe switching out that snack cup of cereal for some celery and hummus, or instead of having that glass of apple juice, switching it out for water or a tea that's sugar-free.
Yeah.
Does any of that sound interesting to you?
Yeah, I definitely think I could swap out my snacks for lower carbs. So like the chips and the cereal, I really like switch to I like bell peppers and like cream cheese.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great. And to start off, how many times a week would you want to try that?
I maybe like 5, so I could do it on like the weekdays.
That sounds great. I love that you're just going for it. And in terms of like the things that we talked about, the lactose and stuff like that, would you be willing to take a look at the grocery store next time you're there and see some of those alternatives?
Yeah, I had no idea that there was lactose-free milk. And hopefully it will taste the same, and maybe my husband and kids won't even notice. But I'll definitely, next time I go to the store, I'll definitely pick that up.
Okay, that sounds great. Do you want to try any of those exercise or like physical activity things this time, or do you just kind of want to think about it? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I was thinking, I have to walk my kids to the bus stop, and there's like a longer way and a shorter way, and I'll probably walk my kids the shorter way just so they're not late, but I could try and walk like the longer way home, which adds
Okay,
on another 5 minutes.
that sounds great. I
Yeah.
really like all those goals that you've set. Do you have any other questions for me or any thoughts or feelings before we
I
end our
don't,
meeting? Okay, well, does this time next week work for you to meet again and we'll touch
yeah,
base on all those things? All right,
yeah.
awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me, Addie, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Bye.